A huge mistake a lot of guys make when they're first trying to improve their style is overlooking the importance of proportion. They'll notice that things get baggier or things get skinnier and it kind of like waxes and wanes every couple of decades, but that's only the tip of the iceberg. If you go back 15 years ago when everybody was doing really skinny stuff, you'll also notice that more often than not, the lengths on the shirts were really, really long. These were called tunic tees because it really is long enough that it can be a tunic. And to some extent, it works with the skinnier legs and the skinnier fits on stuff. A lot of this has to do with contrast. And if something is skinnier, then something is going to be oversized and vice versa. If you get a little bit too uniform, then it loses visual interest. And this was especially for case that guys that would fall into the rakish archetype. And now, yes, cuts have gotten fuller, but I want you to notice just as importantly, the rise on waists has gotten higher, and guys are either wearing stuff that's tucked in or they're just outright cropping stuff. And so you'll notice that in the past we had longer lengths, and now we've got stuff that's shorter. It's actually showing more of those kind of like Vitruvian man golden ratio proportions. And it doesn't have to be exclusive. It doesn't mean that you can't wear longer jackets. You can, but it looks so much better and also so much more current if you're doing it where you've got another layer underneath that's tucked in so you can visually see what's happening where the waist is significantly higher. It's actually ending at the hips as opposed to at the waist. This makes the chest look better. And again, this is more just kind of like a contemporary. This is going to change again in the future. In fact, if you go even further back in time and you go look at prior to the skinny stuff, when guys were doing things that were really baggy, notice how long the t-shirts are that they were wearing. Notice how low rise. Anybody who's older than like 35 remembers how low rise everything else that we were wearing. And then also just how long and baggy the pants were. Another really good example of just like visually how long the torso is here and how short those legs are versus again the difference that you see here in a shorter, wider torso versus much longer and really just kind of like cleaner legs. Again, look at the length here on these trousers versus what we saw before. Now, yes, you can argue that some of these things are better or worse or right or wrong based on things like that golden ratio, based on kind of like objective rules of beauty, but context is always going to supersede those rules of style. And so if you are wanting to dress in a way that is a little bit more contemporary, you're wanting to update things, don't just think of, yeah, things are baggier or things are skinnier than they used to be, but do think about how things are different in length and proportion and that that's a factor that needs to be played with as well.